This is K1DBC. All stations please stand by. The DRC Learning Net will start in 1 minute. Hello and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net for August 13th, 2025. A great place to learn about ham, radio, and STEM topics in general. And thankfully, we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. This is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo. Charlie, my name is Daron. I'm this evening's net control. Tonight we'll be taking your check-ins, comments, questions, updates, and more. We meet every Wednesday, except the third Wednesday of the month, at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time on 145.490 and 448.625. Both have a negative offset. You can contact us via email at elmer@w0tx.org, as well as net@w0tx.org. On most social media at Denver Radio Club. We also stream and archive our nets on youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. So if you'd like to see behind the scenes of the net or visual context, or you're unable to make our repeaters, that's an additional way to participate in the net. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? All check-ins to the net will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. That is the first letter after the number in the call sign. If you can, please try to use IT phonetics, for the call sign at least, and indicate if you have traffic or questions as you check in. You could follow along with check-ins if you'd like, w0tx.org/check-in. With that, if your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Kilowatt Delta Zero, Charlie Golf Fox, Kenny and Thornton with traffic tonight.
Alright, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-in. KD0CGF Kenny with traffic. Thank you so much for checking in. With that, we'll take all call signs, all call suffixes if you'd like to check in just for the count, or if you have any traffic or questions. We're taking all call signs, all call suffixes A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Please call now.
Kilo Echo Zero, Sierra Uniform Mike, Jonathan, lovely Lakewood.
Alright, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-in. KE0 SUM Jonathan, Maybe it's just the heat, or maybe it's just that time of the year, but a bit slower this evening, but that's all right to start with. We're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. This is the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. Great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics. If you'd like to check in, let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu, please call now. Wow, all right. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Just a few of us checked in here so far this evening. If you're tuning in and just listening in, that is all right. No check-ins ever necessary or required, but if you'd like to check in for the count, or if you have any traffic questions, we're taking all call signs, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu, all call signs, all call suffixes. Please check in now with your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now.
0TX repeater.
Okay, nothing heard at the moment. If you're listening in and you'd like to check in throughout the net, if nobody is talking, you're more than happy to jump on in at any given time. I'll take check-ins throughout the net. With that, I guess we'll throw it over to Kenny, KD0CGF. The net is yours.
Good evening, Daron, and good evening, Jonathan, and anyone else who might be out there listening. I turned on your live stream, and in the beginning, you had a map up, and I noticed it had your call sign on it, but you had some other stuff on your map, and I was curious to know what that was, or how did you make that? It was interesting. It looked like it was full of real-time data, almost. This is KD0CGF. Back to net.
Excellent, sounds good. That is a copy of Ham Clock, free to use piece of software running on a Raspberry Pi by a company called Clear Sky Institute. It's running in what's called demo mode, so it's just running through a bunch of different maps and different features. It's kind of like a cheap, free version of Geocron, essentially, but that is what that is, Ham Clock. Able to run on Raspberry Pis, Macs, and Debian, things like that. So I have it running on a same Raspberry Pi I have as my Pi Star for DMR digital hotspot. So I just have it running on that same box. So yeah, pretty cool. You can use it via HDMI via the Raspberry Pi or through a web interface. So I can bring it up through any computer or through my TVs. So pretty cool product.
Now, can you take that? I see it has all the different frequencies listed, and show kind of their spread. So you can, how about just clicking on 6 meters? It says there's 586. Can you do that?
I have not messed around too much in these panels. You definitely can click around in these. Some of them do bring you to some additional information. That one brought up what information I could see there. The different bands, the age of those calls, those spots, Yeah, it's there's a lot of different options. I have not really messed around with it. Again, I'm kind of just using it in what's called demo mode. So it's just flipping through a bunch of different configurations and all the different features of it. So it's just kind of a nice way to use it. But I have not messed around too much with it. But it's a pretty nice to try to use and play around with anyway. But maybe not as super interactive. It may not take you or bring up a replacement map or something like that. But map is interactive, and there are different maps that I can bring up. Let me see here.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's what caught my eye is when you had it up and running, and it was showing the path of the ISS. And I just caught a glimpse of that in the beginning. That's what like, oh man, that was something else. Katie 0 CGF.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I have it running on a Pi-Star 0, and it seems to have a slight delay, so I might need to upgrade the Raspberry Pi it's running on. Yeah, I have not messed with it too much, but yeah, you can follow different satellites. There's a whole slew of different options. So clearskyinstitute.com for more information on there if you're interested. Plenty of information on how to download it and run it and all sorts of different things. So yeah, another one is Ham Dashboard. Pretty cool project. If you can, you just download some files from a GitHub folder essentially, and then just toss it onto a computer. And another real cool product where it's definitely a lot more. If you click an icon, it definitely just brings something up. So this is just different panes of National Weather Service, different radars, different satellites. So this one is pretty nice as well. Very cool. All right. Well, it's 7:41 p.m. If there's anyone else tuning in with any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's Learning Net, go right ahead.
Well, Jerome, I'll ask you and Kenny a question. I'd normally sign in a little different, but there's three of us. Either of you guys do any 6-meter?
I personally do not. I would like to get into it. I just don't have any of the antennas set up for 6 meters. It's intrigued me, but I guess you could say I just haven't had the drive to kick myself in the rear and go get an antenna to do it. Katie 0 CGF, over to Jerome.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. I'm not sure if I have. I'm not sure my radio has 6-meter capable that I have at the moment, but I know we have there's an invitational net every Sunday. I think that gets some traction, but I have not tried it myself. So I'll throw it back over to you, Jonathan. SUM, go right ahead.
Well, you know how my interests change over time. So lately I've been studying 6 meters, and Kenny I was talking to an experienced ham the other day that said, well, if you've got an antenna that does 10 meters, you're probably going to do 6 meters. But then we got into the discussion about 10 meters because it's called the magic band. It propagates off the E layer in the atmosphere and how it forms. Well, I'd watched a couple of videos on it, but if you go to like the QRZ page, they have that solar chart in the upper right-hand corner. And it's like, never see 6 meters open. So it's like, I'm still unclear. I guess you just have to check it a lot. It's a band my radios will cover, so I'm going to try and play with it a little now. Because I was questioning the antenna also. They do make a 6-meter ham stick, which is like $25, so that's fine. but I have a 10-meter ham stick, so that'll probably tune it. That's just my thought. Okay, 0SUM. Anybody listening have any thoughts?
This is WD0CIV, WD0CIV, Charles in Denver. Just checking in. I got in here late. No traffic.
W0TX repeater.
This is KE0NFP. That's November Foxtrot Papa. I've been trying to check in. I'm not sure my offset's right. Let me know if you copy.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome knowledge to the following check-ins. We had WD0CIV Charles, and then Thomas, KE0NFP. Read you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you for that, sir. It's Thomas in Broomfield. New to this and checking in. Thank you.
Comment?
We'll throw it over back to you, Jonathan, KE0SUM.
Well, Thomas, welcome aboard. Oh, you got licensed quite a while ago. Why you're saying you're new to it? I'm Jonathan, KE0SUM.
This is Thomas. I've had my license for 8 years and just started actually speaking on ham radio a couple weeks ago. I had gotten it for search and rescue work I was doing for the Boulder County Sheriff's Department, so never really spoken on the radio and used it for this purpose. So here I am now.
Well, you're coming through loud and clear, and just don't get any mic fright. We don't bite. KE0SUM back to net.
All right, sounds good. This is K1 DBC. Absolutely. Welcome all into the fold here. So, yeah, to your question, Jonathan, you were asking a few minutes ago. I'm not too sure on 6-meter operating usages. Yeah, I haven't really paid attention to see that 6-meter is not really often reported as open. I'm not too sure how those stats are gathered on that kind of that banner, but. Yeah, 10-meter or 6-meter. Yeah, I know that there's some CB radios that you can buy that are 10-meter capable, and that's an easy way, a cheaper way to get into 10-meter maybe. But yeah, anyone else on that, or Jonathan, go right ahead. All right, this is K1 at DBC Net Control. Thank you, everyone, for checking in here so far. It's been a pretty quiet evening here so far. 5 people checked in. 750 or so. We have plenty of time here. 40 minutes or so, plenty of time. If anyone else wants to check in, this is the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. Great place to learn and have about ham radio and STEM topics. So if you'd like to check in, let us know your call sign, your name. And if you have any traffic or questions, please call now.
N0TRP, Jim in Lakewood with a comment.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. No further check-ins heard. We had also, though, N0TRP Jim with traffic. With that, Jim, the net is yours.
Well, good evening, everybody. This is N0TRP.
just a comment on the 6 meters and 10 meters. I haven't been on 10 meters, but just a couple of times, and that was a couple of years ago. But 6 meters, my goal is to get like a rotatable dipole in the backyard, and I'm hoping I get it done soon, because my understanding is that here being towards the peak of the solar cycle, 10 meters and 6 meters should be doing real well, but I don't have any experience on it right now, so that's just kind of head knowledge at this point. N0TRP, back to net.
Comment?
Excellent. Thanks there, Jim. N0TRP for the update. And then we had Jonathan, SUM. Go right ahead.
Well, Jim, you're exactly right about 10 and 6 this time of year because they're summer bands. They're going to close up soon. And one of my things about 6 is after I've studied it, it's usually a daytime band and fades in the evening. But I like your idea of a rotatable dipole. Are you going to use ham sticks to make that? KE0SUM.
N0TRP. I just use a TV rotator. I've got a little simple TV rotator that I have ready to set up, and I just need to get a mount for it, and then go from there. But just a little. It wouldn't be ham sticks. It'd be. I'll make it probably just some aluminum tubing or something. Or I might use regular whip antennas, expandable whip antennas. Not the ham sticks, but something similar.
But if you're doing a 6-meter rotating dipole, 6-meter ham sticks are super short. Seems like that would work really well and maybe be a little hassle for you. Just my thought.
Well, I'll have to give that some thought and maybe take a look at those. N0TRP, back to net.
Excellent. Sounds good. Always great to hear people's wants and needs and future projects and things like that. So yeah, it'd be great to hear in the future how that works out. So as mentioned, we do have the invitational net on Sundays, but apart from that, there's probably plenty of maybe HF activity out there for those bands as well. So you gotta just check it out. So yeah, anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins, anything else? Go right ahead.
Alpha Foxtrot 0 Echo, Alex, checking in.
November 1, Zulu, Tango Tango with late check-in.
Excellent. This is K1 DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins: AF0A Alex and N1ZTT Dan. Thank you both so much for checking in here. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. As usual, I can certainly bring up a story or two, an article or two, skim through some recent things, but anyone else, we have plenty of time here. It's still 40 or so minutes, 35 or so minutes. If anybody has any further comments, questions, check-ins, anything, go right ahead.
This is N1ZTT. I'm just wondering if anybody has a chance to check out the meteor shower either through your radio or visually. N1ZTT, back to net.
Come in.
W0TX repeater.
Excellent, very good point. Yeah, for any astronomical astronomy buffs, the Perseid meteor shower occurred last night. Yeah, great question. Yeah, Jonathan, KE0SUM, go right ahead.
Hi, Dan. See, Dan's like a professional photographer and he loves astronomy. So maybe someone saw that, and I read about it. I love astronomy, and I spent a long time watching the eclipse up in Wyoming. Yeah, greatest 2 minutes, 37 seconds of my life. But Dan, did you get out and get some pictures in? Where'd you go?
No, I didn't get any pictures. I was actually stuck inside, and I saw a live feed from somebody was out there with some sort of a camera doing a live feed, and it was pretty interesting. But I only got to see 5 meteors the whole night, and that was like 2 o'clock in the morning. So, but I confess I missed it. So there it is. I was just interested in seeing if anyone else found out the N1ZTT back to net.
Excellent. Sounds good. This is K1 DBC Net Control. There was also some planets that aligned last night, or early this morning. I'm trying to find that as well. But anyone else on the Perseid meteor shower that occurred last night, or anything else on that? Go right ahead. All right, while I'm trying to look that up, a great YouTube recommendation on this is the Denver Astronomical Society, and I do apologize if I'm pronouncing that word incorrectly, but Denver Astro on YouTube. They might have something on this coming up in the future as well. But if you're interested in local Denver astronomy and some different presentations, that is a great YouTube channel to check out, the Denver Astronomical Society. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins, anything else? Go right ahead. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I may have been duped earlier when I saw earlier, but I'll see if I can bring that up. But pretty cool stuff there. Let me see if I can go through some quick information on that. Let's see, over on KOAA.com. Perseid meteor shower peaks last night. Often meteor shower of the year with high hourly rates. Peak years exceeding 100 meteors per hour. Meteorologists don't study meteors, at least astronomical meteors, but they do forecast the viewing conditions for them. You don't need a telescope to view the shower, but odds are if you see someone with one, you're a good spot to see it. According to Bruce Bookout, adjunct professor of astronomy at Pikes Peak State College and a member of the Colorado Springs Astronomical Society, what you're looking at in these types of events called meteor showers are the breakup of a comet. While we're not intercepting the comet, we're intercepting the debris and trash left behind in its orbital path. In the case, the comet is a Swift-Tuttle, and the shower comes out of the constellation Perseus. That's where the name Perseidae comes from. You need a dark sky for best views. They continue to say, head east, head up into the mountains, find dark areas, get away from the city lights. Even smaller towns like Woodland Parks have a good sky dome in terms of their light pollution problem. All right, very cool stuff. Yeah, very timely. Yeah. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? Go right ahead.
Comment, SUM.
Yeah, Jonathan, KE0SUM. The net is yours.
I'd like to digress a little bit because Alex and Dan joined in, and I know they're both HF operators. But I'd asked the question earlier, guys, do you do 6 meters, and how do you decide when it's alive?
I check into 6 meters from time to time. I have never tried to contact anybody or anything specific. Most of the time when I'm looking at 6 meters, it's a dead band, so I really don't bother with it too much. And when ZTT, back to net.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, anyone else on that? Let's see, I had brought up just one of the articles here, K5ND.net, a guide to 6 meter DXing. 6 meters within 50 to 54 megahertz obviously offers various propagation modes. Personal experience illustrates the band's magic. Author shares memorable contacts on 6 meters. Equipment choices. So there's just quite a lengthy article here. I could run through some of it, but yeah, it sounds like it potentially is elusive, as you kind of mentioned with sporadic E propagation. But yeah, anyone else on 6 meter operations? Go ahead. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yep, as you start taking higher and higher tests, you'll start to learn more and more about the propagation skips and things like that. So as the sun goes down, some of these layers disappear in the ionosphere, and the layers change. And so some of these layers are only available during certain times of the day in propagation, as we know. Certain times of the day, certain times of the year, things like that. So 6 meter, kind of elusive, sporadic E-cloud propagation. But anyone else on that, go right ahead. Well, I'll throw it back to you, Jonathan, KE0SUM, or anyone else on 6 meters, or check-ins, comments, questions, anything else, go right ahead.
Well, Daron, I think 6 meters is a very interesting band, but at the same time, I can see why a lot of people probably don't use it because you're not sure when it's going to open up. I guess when it is, it's the magic band, and you can make some great skip. But I think it's only like 700 to 1,000 miles of skip with so you're better off with the same antenna doing, well, don't bother with 10 meters, but, 20 or 40, much more reliable, and you'd have a lot more fun making contacts. That's my theory. KE0SUM, back to net.
W0TX repeater.
Yeah, great point in that. As you mentioned that, I was kind of thinking of NVIS antennas and propagation, kind of intentionally cutting off your propagation. So as you mentioned, there's really only a limited amount of, limited, but up to 1,000 miles, but that's a limitation much greater than some of the other bands you mentioned, 20 or 40 or 80 during different times of the day. So yeah, using the same antenna, you can probably get out a lot further using different bands and modes. So yeah, Yeah, very cool stuff. Yeah, anyone else? Go right ahead. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Quickly going back, I believe this might be the case, but there was also a planetary alignment last night of Venus and Jupiter. So that also happened. I don't know what the timing of that is, how that works, but that's also another visual element of what occurred last night as well. So that was, I just wanted to bring that back up real quick. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Anyone else? We're taking all comments, questions, check-ins, updates, anything else, and more. Go right ahead.
Kilo Delta Zero Charlie Golf Fox. Hey, Daron, I got a question for you on that ham clock.
Yeah, Kenny, CGF on a ham clock. Go right ahead.
Do you know, I'm currently sitting here setting it up on Debian, surprisingly enough. Do you know the default port that it runs on by chance?
This is K1 at DBC Net Control. It runs on 3 ports. The web interface, at least, is on 8081 and 8082. 8081 is for read-write, and read-only is on 8082. So as long as you don't have a firewall put in place on your setup, if you do, you may need to open up with IP table commands. But if you go into your web browser, if you point to the IP address port 8081/live/HTML, that should get you there.
All right, cool beans. Thank you.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I was trying to bring the page up here, but Clear Sky Institute ham clock, pretty cool project. If you've seen Geocron before, this is a free version of that. Not necessarily as robust, but free as in beer, and works quite well. So if you head on over to clearskyinstitute.com, and if you have a spare Raspberry Pis laying around, it'd be just a nice project. You can either hook it up via HDMI to a spare monitor or view it via a web browser. So pretty cool stuff. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Another 20 minutes or so. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? Please call now.
Well, Daron, I think it's a very cool, not Geocron. I don't know, looks like it may have some of the layers, but Geocron, the way it focuses its data, I don't know. Geocron has a lot of layers, so I think it's great. Free, might as well try it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if Geocron wasn't subscription-based, I think a lot more of us would hand out the $100, $200 for the HDMI-based version. But since they have a premium bundle, unfortunately, you have to pay for yearly subscriptions or monthly subscriptions. It's turns off a lot of people, I think, unfortunately. So, yeah, an option like ham clock is a really nice option to have out there. So, yeah, again, clearskyinstitute.com if anybody's interested. It's just a fun project just to do if you're ever interested in messing around with Raspberry Pis. But you get a pretty cool end result. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Anyone else? 20 or so minutes. Please call now.
I'll point out one other thought is like this free app. Okay, that's great. You can put it out on your computer, or whatever, and you're fine. Now, Geochron's like $500 almost. So you always wonder, and then you need to have a display. Well, you need that on your computer, but that's fine. But it's like, how often would you use that? How many layers would you actually look at? Well, a lot of money. I always think about how often I'm going to use something. KE0 issue out.
Wow, geez. Okay, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I guess the digital version is double the amount that I thought, and doesn't even come with a monitor. So it's basically a $500 kind of Amazon Fire Stick a little bit, but then you also have to have a monitor, and then pay subscriptions for the different layers that you were mentioning there. And what are you going to use day to day, and what do you want to use, and what will be worth your time? So. At the end of the day, sometimes with this hobby, you sometimes purchase things and they end up on your shelf, and you just have to ask yourself, was that worth it? And very very great question there. What do you need? What do you want, and what can you afford? This is K1 DBC Net Control. There's plenty of options out there for everyone. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? Go right ahead.
Well, the other one thing with Geochron is I was fixing copiers back in the day. I went in a lot of Excel spaces, and they have a weather room there that relies on very immediate data from all over the place. So they're the people who will pay for instant data, and they're the ones who will use it, and they may need the different layers. I'll let that one go after that drone, KE0 issue.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. That would make much more sense. Especially with the physical ones as well. Much more expensive, up in the $4 or $5 grand pricing options, and that would make much more sense for radio stations, TV, anyone, weather stations, anyone that's wanting to monitor multiple time zones, multiple things. That would make a lot more sense of that, who they would really be selling to. So. And how they can probably stay in business, quite frankly. So, very cool. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? Go right ahead.
0TX repeater.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. I guess speaking of looking at things, window shopping of things that you may or may not need. I was just, for some reason, looking at I have a Raspberry Pi, or I have a Simplex DMR hotspot, as I think a lot of us, if we do have a DMR hotspot or a digital hotspot, it is usually Simplex, excuse me. I was looking into purchasing maybe a duplex hotspot, and really what the features and functionality of it. As far as I can tell, it really wouldn't give me too much more than I really already have. So, but it is come down in price. If you're interested in a duplex hotspot, you can get one over on AliExpress and other outlets for $30 to $40. You may need to do some minor soldering, but if you're interested, most hotspots are simplex, which means you can only transmit and receive one way at a time. Using a duplex hotspot would basically allow you to turn your hotspot into kind of, not necessarily repeater, but gives you the functionality. And I guess really the only functionality I found is being able to disconnect talk groups and being able to monitor talk groups at the same time. But that can really just be done within software anyway. So that's what I was looking at recently. But anyone else on hotspots, digital repeaters, anything else, or any other things you want to bring up? Go right ahead. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. 15 or so minutes. Comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's Learning Net? Please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Recent conference that happened, DEF CON conference. Let me see. It focuses on hardening hardware and software. Let me drop for a moment. Very similar to the Black Hat conference, I think. But hackers, people that have interest in software and hardware, kind of get together. So defcon.org for more information on them, on their conference. Some pretty interesting videos here. One of them was on water treatment plant and hardening the software for that. So as we get into an age where some of our infrastructure and resources are being compromised, they're looking to have the community help to harden their the security of those things. So just some random thing that I brought up, I want to bring up, but DEF CON conference over on YouTube for some of their most recent videos. All right, this is K1 at DBC Net Control. I'm clutching at straws here, as they say. Anyone else? I certainly can bring up another story or two, but anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins, anything else? Go right ahead. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? I can bring up something, but saying if I can bring up anything here. Anyone else? Go right ahead. A little bit of a heady article here. Real-time beam forming with software-defined radio, written over on hackaday.com by Brian Cockfield on August 5th. It is perhaps humanity's most defining trait that we are always striving to build things better, stronger, faster, and bigger than which came before. Taller skyscrapers, longer bridges, and computers with more processors, all advanced thanks to this relentless persistence. In the world of radio, we might assume that a better signal simply means adding more power, but performance can also improve by adding more antennas. Goes on to say, let's see, not only do more antennas increase gain, but they can also be electronically steered. YouTuber MAKA demonstrates how to do this with a software-defined radio phased array. The project comes to us in two parts. The first part is with an Atom Pluto SDR, and with one set to transmit and the other to receive. The transmitting SDR has two channels, one of which has the phase angle of transmitted radio waves fixed, while the other is swept from negative 100 to positive 180 degrees. Two waves will interfere with each other at various points along this sweep, with one providing much higher gain to the receiver. This is all information put out via GUI. The second part works a bit like the first, but in reverse. By using the two antennas as receivers instead of transmitters, the phased array can calculate the precise angle of arrival of a particular radio wave, allowing the user to pinpoint the direction it is being transmitted from. These principles form the basic of things like phased array radar. And if you like more visual representation, take a look at from a post from a few years ago. So let me see if I can bring up anything else on that, because I had some weather radar information on that.
Question.
Yeah, Jonathan, KE0SUM, go ahead.
You said the word antenna, and so I wonder if anybody listening knows about the Russian woodpecker antenna and how that worked and what it was designed to do. KE0SUM, back to net.
Great question there. Yeah, if you've browsed YouTube over the last 10 to 15 years, you'll probably have seen this giant wall of an antenna. Looks like it is a over-the-horizon antenna, probably for use during some wars. The Duga 3 array. If anybody else has anything on that, over-the-horizon used in the Soviet Union as part of its early warning radar system network for missile defense. If anybody else has any information or more information on that, go right ahead.
Someone was launching an intercontinental ballistic missile at your country, you had two options. Put a satellite in space, which at that point was expensive, impractical and likely to fail, or build a radar system. But radar...
All right, so popular YouTuber here, Tom Scott, covered this back in 2015. Mentions in the 1970s during a Cold War, if you wanted to see someone was launching an intercontinental ballistic missile, you'd have to launch satellites into space, which at that point was expensive or impractical, or build an antenna, which a radar system, which could see over the horizon. So for detecting incoming missiles, it seems like. So very neat stuff there. Yeah, anyone else on that? The Duga 3 array, plenty of information available online. But Jonathan or anyone else on that, go ahead. All right, well, we all know how reliable Wikipedia is, but I'll read off a brief article here. At some point in 1976, a new and powerful radio signal was detected simultaneously worldwide and quickly dubbed the woodpecker by amateur radio operators. Transmission power on some woodpecker transmitters was estimated to be as high as 10 milliwatts, equivalent isotropically radiated power. Even prior to 1976, a similar woodpecker-style interference is remembered by radio amateurs occurring in high frequencies. As early as 1963 or before, radio amateurs were calling this the Russian woodpecker. Little is known about the power levels or Russian designation, but it was probably a forerunner of the Duga system. Let's see. Triangulation by amateur radio hobbyists and NATO show the signals came from location in present-day Ukraine at that time called Ukraine Soviet Socialist Republic, USSR. Confusion due to the small differences in the reports being made from various sources led to the site being located in different locations. But yeah, great. If you have not seen that, it is a pretty popular antenna, covered fairly well, and so as much information as we can, I'm sure, has been gathered from that. So, yeah, anyone else on the Russian woodpecker antenna or any other, any of those other stations or anything like that? Go right ahead. All right, it is 8:23 p.m. Mountain Time. Another just 5 or so minutes. Any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's Learning Net? Please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I'll probably start to wrap things up here in a few minutes then. Don't have a presentation just yet for next week, but it will be virtual. So check out our website, w0tx.org, for more information. We had a late check-in here. KS0E, Alex, I'll get you checked in here. Yeah, a few minutes still left for the net. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? Please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Last few minutes for the net here. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? Please call now. All right. Last few minutes here still. Let me see if I can bring up any last-minute articles here. But anyone else? Last-minute comments, questions, check-ins? Please call now. All right, nothing heard. We'll probably start to wrap the net up here. I'll probably just read off last-minute parts of the script here and throw it back out for any last-minute comments, questions, or check-ins. So far, we've had 9 check-ins. Really do appreciate that. We appreciate and thank our club for allowing us to use their repeaters. Let's see. Can't thank enough all of our volunteers, whether it's for this net or for other nets, or really any of the other parts of our club. A lot of unsung heroes, as it were. A lot of things going on in the background. I'd like to thank Pete Sabansky, AB8WN. Been a huge rock star this year with the tech committee and are helping with our website and a lot of different stuff. So we'll be having our tech committee meeting tomorrow evening. So we'll be discussing our tech-related issues. We have a new repeater that we're purchasing, replacing one of our repeaters to consolidate space and to get some newer features. It's just one of our main 2-meter, 70-centimeter repeaters, so we'll be discussing that and some other things. But let's see if there's anything to come out of that. Maybe we'll hear from us on the Sunday night net. Anyone else? Last-minute comments, questions, check-ins? Please call now. All right, last opportunity to check in. This will be the last opportunity to check in. Last minute opportunity to check in. We're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. Please call now. Okay, nothing heard. We will then wrap the net up here. Again, thank you everyone for checking in. Next week will be our meeting. More information will be on our website, w0tx.org. It will be virtual, so you'll find links for that on our website. With that, this is K1 DBC Net Control 7.3. I will be clear. Everyone have a good evening.